I'm directly responsible for operations. So I manage the day-to-day operations of most of our agent-facing team that supports the call center. I also am responsible for quality assurance and education or training here at Ansafone.
Wonderful. And what is the culture like at Ansafone? And are your core values, are they similar to how you lead people?
Yeah, so we really do strive very hard to have a culture of inclusivity here at Ansafone.
Right.
And so we're pretty diverse. We've got people all over the country that work for us. A large number of our team members work in all kinds of different states throughout the United States. So we have the joy of getting to hear a lot of different types of personalities in the work that we do.
Right.
And we really support the entire country in all kinds of different ways with the types of calls we answer and the like. Our core values are very important to our business. And to me personally, I spend a lot of time kind of really thinking about, does this decision that I'm making right now or this action that I want to take, does it live up to the core values of our organization? One of the core values that I really strive to make sure that I think about in all decisions that I make is continuous improvement.
Mm-hmm.
And just really want to think about, does this make it better for our organization? How can we take what we have now and build upon that and make it better for all of our clients and our team members that work for us?
Yeah, that's awesome that a lot of the leadership, it sounds like, from Ansafone that follows the core values, because it does change the direction of the company, I'm sure. What attributes do you look for in an employee, like a team leader or an agent or anyone that you hire?
It's really a lot about attitude. If you've got a desire to help people and a passion for customer service, you are the right person for our organization. Communication is so key in what we do here, being a communication company. It's really important that we know how to effectively communicate both in written and in verbal formats. And so we really look for people who can emulate those qualities and really have a strong passion for people.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds very essential, especially the attitude part. Can you imagine, you call into a call center and the person picks up the phone, you could feel the person smiling at you or not, right? So.
Absolutely. Yeah, we do talk a lot about that. You can really hear facial expressions through the phone more than you would even imagine.
Exactly. Can you share some techniques or incentives that you use to help motivate and elevate your team?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So one of the biggest things that you can do for people is just let them know that they're appreciated, even in small ways, even when, a simple thank you goes a long way. One of my philosophies in leadership is I like to make sure that I praise people in public. And if I have any, constructive feedback to provide, I like to make sure that I do that in private, as to respect people's feelings and help them to grow. And certainly don't want to ever make anybody feel called out in a negative way. But in a positive way, we certainly want to make sure that they hear that praise. And so one of the things that we do is we have a program called Great Catch.
Okay.
And it's based directly with our core values. And so anyone on our team can nominate someone else for a great catch.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, if they see somebody do something that they think is good, or they're demonstrating one of those core values that we have as an organization, all they have to do is submit a simple web form and say, "Hey, I want to acknowledge this person." And anytime one of our team members accrues up to 5 of those acknowledgments, they can turn them in for a $25 gift card. So there's a little bit of a monetary incentive there as well.
Wow, that's wonderful. I love how you guys celebrate people.
Yeah. It's really the most important. Without them, we really don't have a business.
Right. Tara, what is the most difficult part of being a leader?
Patience.
Yeah.
I
Tell
think
me
that,
more.
yeah, for me, I think, for me, it's definitely being able to kind of slow down and let things kind of naturally happen. Sometimes I want action right now. I want to make sure, I want to see everything perfect in that moment. Kind of a personality flaw, I guess, of mine. But I really have to practice patience a lot in what I do because things don't happen overnight.
Right.
For example, if I'm working on a big project and I know that it's going to take a little bit of time to go through an approval process and that sort of thing, I really have to just set my expectation from the start that this is going to take a month or two and that I can't expect it to happen tomorrow. Similarly, in that regard, working with people and helping them to develop their skills takes time and patience as well.
Yeah, absolutely. What are some of the challenges you face when managing a team?
I think there's a lot of things. People have lives that are outside of their work environment
Exactly. Right.
that impact them. And it's really important for a business leader, in my view, to understand those challenges and to be able to meet people where they are. We might have a team member who, is going through a really difficult time in their life. And if we aren't there to kind of help hold their hand and help them through that difficult time, we might lose them. Mm-hmm. And that would ultimately be a bad outcome for both them and for our organization.
What do you instill in your team members when it comes to training and development?
You got to listen. I think that would be one of the top things that I would say in regards to this. I recently heard something that I really liked and it resonated well with me. It was the concept of wait. And the idea being you kind of ask yourself in that you think that, remember that word wait, and you think about that. And what it kind of represents is, why am I talking?
Oh, interesting.
Why am I talking?
Yeah.
Do I have something to say right now that's going to add to the conversation, or is my moment a listening moment?
Oh, I love that tip. I never would have thought of that acronym to represent that. That's incredible.
Isn't that cool? I kind of like it.
Yeah, I love it. I'm going to borrow it now.
Yeah, you should.
How do you create harmony and a collaborative atmosphere amongst your team?
I think it kind of goes back to just being someone who is willing to listen and to really hear people and meet them where they are. The old adage of take a walk in someone else's shoes, I think really still resonates today. And when we are able to step out of our own head and try to ask that question of, why would that person respond that way? Or what is it's really a questioning kind of model, I guess, is where I'm kind of coming to here. Instead of trying to make assumptions about things or jumping to conclusions, it's really important to think about why. Ask yourself, why is this situation the way that it is? And how can I then move forward from this moment to have a positive outcome?
Wonderful. Can you share an experience where there was a conflict with one of your team members, and how did you resolve it?
Oh, goodness. Certainly a kind of the nature of being in leadership, there's going to be conflict that you have to kind of deal with from time to time for sure. And the way that I like to try to handle those situations is just really to allow people the opportunity to express what has brought them to that moment. And get people in a room, whether it's a virtual room like this one that you and I are talking in today, or an actual physical space. The concept is the same. When people are face to face with each other, it's a lot more difficult to not see the humanity in another person.
I so agree with that. The face to face is so important. And I think the honesty also comes through more too.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
What are your top 3 accomplishments so far?
Oh my goodness. Um, so here at Ansafone, I feel like I've really been able to bring some of my organizational skills to the organization that have helped us to become more process driven as a team, which obviously then results in more productivity and less firefighting, so to speak, right? So the idea being, instead of trying to resolve a problem after it's already happening, let's prevent the problem from occurring to begin with. And so that's kind of been my philosophy. And I believe that one of the things that's made that possible is process and procedure. So I've been really focused since I joined the organization a few years back on process and procedure. Another thing is really around the communication aspect. When I first joined this organization, we had decent communication with our team, but it was a little bit one-sided in the sense that we were able to reach out and talk to them, but they didn't really have a great avenue to reach back out to us and communicate back to us. So we introduced Teams, which I'm sure most businesses are utilizing in some form or fashion these days, which allows us to really open up those lines of communication and allows our team members to feel more engaged, which kind of probably leads me to the third thing that I think that, really I feel has been a strong accomplishment is really building that engagement here at Ansafone and kind of helping our team members to understand their value in the organization. Not that they weren't valued before, because they absolutely were. We just have better ways to tell them.
Got it. Well, this kind of segues to the next question. You pretty much have answered some of it as far as the strengths, but I'll just go ahead and ask, what would you say are the strengths and what would you say are your strengths and weaknesses or areas of improvements on your team?
So I think, we're still kind of growing. We've become, as an organization, Ansafone is a very fast growing organization. In the last, even since I started working here, we've added so many different projects and so many different avenues into the business that we do. And when you grow really fast like that, there are the pain points that come from that.
Absolutely.
And so kind of learning how to get through those pain points, I think, has been kind of a opportunity for us. And still, I think, remains kind of an opportunity for us to continue to grow as an organization. I think we're so strong in our people, and that's what makes us such a successful business, in my view, is that our people are dedicated and really strive to make a difference, not just in this organization, but in our communities.
That's a great point. I hear also from Randy, the CEO, that talks about that, is that people are your assets. Can you just elaborate a little more? That's a very interesting philosophy.
Yeah. So I think, in the type of business that we do is so customer centric, and
correct.
We don't really sell anything. We don't produce a product necessarily. What we do is we help people in difficult times. Mm-hmm. And because of that, we really have that unique opportunity to develop that human capital that we have. Our clients rely on us to have people on the other end of that telephone who are going to treat their customers with the same level of empathy and kindness and respect that they would do themselves. And that's, why being a people business is so important and why our people are so important to us.
Awesome. What does your ideal team look like?
It's a team that knows their positions, okay, and is able and willing to adjust as needed, but will stay in their position. So I often use a kind of an analogy about this, and I'm sure you've seen perhaps 8-year-olds play soccer before, but it's kind of fun to watch because it's just like a swarm of little humans running around a soccer court, and nobody knows their position. Maybe they do, but And the one kid is over here playing with
Right.
dandelions in the field and that sort of thing, right?
Off on their own.
Yeah, exactly. And so what I have really been striving to do is to elevate that game
Right.
into a place where everyone knows what their goals are and what their responsibilities are, and they know exactly what they need to bring to the table each day, and they have full ownership of that.
That's a great point. And knowing exactly what your role is so it fits in the rest of the puzzle of the team.
Yeah, exactly.
They say great leadership lead by example. How do you lead by example?
I think that it's just by, if I say I'm going to do something, that I always follow through and I always do what I say I'm going to do. I value communication, and so I emulate positive and good communication in the work that I do.
Right.
And so it's really, just what do I have as an expectation of my team member?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to make sure that that's who I am too. Whether it's, maintaining that positive attitude, or keeping the lines of communication open, or, you name it.
What has been your experience like working at Ansafone?
It's been really challenging in some ways and really rewarding in a lot of ways as well. Watching the growth and the things that we've been able to do in the last several years has been really rewarding for me. And at the same time, going back to the earlier question about being a patient person,
Right.
I've kind of had to learn how to be more patient sometimes. You can't always expect people to be exactly where you are. And so you've got to be able to, adjust yourself in those situations.
Yeah, it sounds like it definitely goes hand in hand.
They do. Yeah.
So we're coming to a close of your interview. Terra, do you have any last messages that you'd like to give to the world?
Wow.
It could be anything. It could be work, personal, a philosophy.
Yeah, I think I would just reiterate that it's so important to ask why, and focus on what you can do now instead of what happened before. And I think that this is a really good life lesson in general. I think the only point of looking back is to see how far you've come. And I might be stealing that from a song lyric. I'm pretty sure I am. But I will say that it really resonates with me. And the idea of, what happened yesterday doesn't matter. What happens tomorrow is what matters. The only value that yesterday gives me is perspective on how to be better today and take that into the future.
Those are wonderful golden nuggets, Terra. Thanks for sharing that.
Absolutely.
So where can a prospect or customer find you? What is your company URL?
www.ansafone.com.
Thank you so much, Terra. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you, Judy. I appreciate it.
I'll see you next time.
All right. Bye-bye.